Steve Harvey had interviewed thousands of contestants in his years hosting Family Feud, but he'd never seen someone's hands shake while holding prayer beads during commercial break. The woman in the emerald green sari hadn't stopped whispering what sounded like prayers in Hindi since the moment she'd walked onto the stage, and when Steve asked if she was okay, her response would lead to a revelation that would transform not just the show, but reunite a family separated by 8,000 miles and one grandmother's fading voice. It was Wednesday, November 13th, 2024, at the Family Feud studio in Atlanta. The Patel family was competing against the Anderson family in what seemed like a typical taping. But anyone paying attention to Sanya Patel would have noticed something was different. The 34-year-old software engineer turned medical advocate stood at the second podium, her fingers unconsciously tracing the intricate gold embroidery of her sari, the same sari she'd worn at her wedding 7 years ago. The Patel family team consisted of Sanya, her brother-in-law Vikram, her sister-in-law Meera, her cousin Raj, and her best friend from college, Jennifer. They were playing for Arjun's family, the Sanya's husband, who was notably absent from the lineup, though his photograph sat in Sanya's purse, next to pictures of his parents and their 6-year-old daughter Neha. During the commercial break, Steve had noticed Sanya touching a small pendant on her Mangal Sutra, the sacred necklace worn by married Hindu women. Her lips moved in what appeared to be silent prayer, and her hands trembled slightly as she held worn wooden prayer beads. "You all right, sweetheart?" Steve had asked gently, approaching her during the break. "You seem like you got something heavy on your mind." Sanya had looked up, startled out of her reverie, and Steve saw tears threatening at the corners of her eyes, though she smiled warmly. "I'm sorry, Mr. Harvey. Today is a difficult day. I was praying for strength." "Anything you want to talk about?" Steve asked, genuinely concerned. Sanya glanced at her family members, then back at Steve. "My husband Arjun. He's in India. Has been for 10 months now. His parents. They both fell very ill last year. His mother had a severe stroke. His father developed complications from diabetes. Someone had to go care for them." 10 months is a long time to be apart," Steve said softly. "It was supposed to be 2 months, Sanya's voice caught. "Just until we could arrange proper care. But then the visa applications for his parents kept getting delayed. Medical visas, emergency documentation, everything takes time. And his mother, she can barely speak now. My daughter Neha, she's 6. She doesn't understand why Nani can't sing to her anymore over video calls." Vikram, Arjun's younger brother, joined the conversation. "Sanya's been incredible, Steve. Working full-time, raising Neha alone, coordinating medical care from 8,000 miles away, and somehow keeping our whole family together." "Tell me about your outfit," Steve said, noticing how Sanya's hand went protectively to the fabric. "This sari seems special." Sanya's face transformed with a bittersweet smile. "This is my wedding sari. Arjun's mother gave it to me 7 years ago. She draped it on me herself for our wedding, even taught me the traditional way to wear it. She was so strong then, so vibrant. She used to sing classical bhajans, religious songs, had the most beautiful voice." "And now she can't sing?" Steve prompted gently. The stroke affected her speech center. She understands everything, but can barely whisper a few words. It breaks Neha's heart. Her Nani used to sing her to sleep over video calls. "Now." Sanya trailed off, wiping her eyes carefully to not smudge the traditional bindi on her forehead. "How are you managing?" Steve asked. "We do our best." Sanya straightened her shoulders. "I've been teaching Neha Hindi using old recordings. My mother-in-law, back when she was healthy, she recorded herself reading stories, singing songs. We had dozens of cassette tapes. But last year, during monsoon season, their house in Mumbai flooded. We lost everything. Photo albums, the recordings, family videos from 30 years. All gone." Jennifer spoke up. Sanya spends hours every night after Neha sleeps, trying to recreate those stories from memory, recording herself. But it's not the same. Neha knows it's not her Nani's voice. "And your husband can't come back?" Steve asked. His parents need constant care. His mother needs physical therapy daily, medications that need monitoring. His father can't manage alone. We've applied for emergency medical visas 3 times. Each time, more documentation needed, more delays. The latest application has been pending for 4 months. So you're here playing for them? Steve understood. The prize money would help with medical bills, Sanya explained. But honestly, Mr. Harvey, I just wanted to do something positive. Neha watches Family Feud with me. It's one of the few times I see her really laugh anymore. She misses her papa, misses her grandparents. I thought if she saw mommy on TV, being strong, maybe it would help her be strong too. As the show resumed after commercial, Steve couldn't shake the image of Sanya's quietly moving lips, the way she held those prayer beads like a lifeline. The Patel family was playing well, their chemistry evident despite the underlying sadness that seemed to cling to Sanya like morning mist. "All right, Patel family," Steve announced after they won their second round. "You're doing great up here. Sanya, you're holding it down at that second position." Sanya smiled, adjusting her dupatta, the long scarf that completed her traditional outfit. The green silk caught the studio lights, and Steve noticed the intricate peacock designs embroidered in gold thread. "Thank you, Mr. Harvey. My family is my strength," she said, glancing at Vikram and Mira, even when half of it is 8,000 miles away. They were in the middle of the third round when it happened. The question was, name something grandmothers are famous for. One calm, Ford, calm, one 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 calm. Sanya hit her buzzer. "Singing lullabies," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "Good answer," Steve said, "singing lullabies to the grandbabies." The board revealed it as the number 3 answer. But Sanya had turned away, pressing her palms to her eyes, her shoulders shaking slightly. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry. Just, Neha asked me last night if Nani would ever sing to her again. I didn't know what to say." The studio fell silent. Steve walked over to Sanya, his own eyes moist. "It's okay, sweetheart. Take your time." Mira put her arm around her sister-in-law. "She's the strongest person I know, Mr. Harvey. You should see her. Working from 5 a.m. so she can call India before Neha wakes up. Teaching herself physical therapy techniques to guide Arjun over video. Learning about medications, treatments. All while being a single parent. Not single," Sanya corrected firmly. "Temporarily apart. Arjun is still very much my partner. He's where he needs to be right now, taking care of the people who raised him. I would do the same." It was then that Steve noticed his producer, Marcus Freeman, standing at the edge of the stage with an unusual expression. Freeman was holding a tablet and gesturing urgently. This was highly unusual. Freeman never interrupted tapings unless something significant was happening. "Excuse me one moment," Steve said to the families. Walking over to Freeman, "Steve," Freeman whispered urgently, "you need to see this. We've had a team working on something since the pre-interview. You need to read this now." Steve took the tablet, his eyes scanning quickly. His expression changed from confusion to amazement to something approaching awe. He looked at Freeman, then at Sanya, then back at the tablet. "Are you serious?" Steve whispered. "All of it?" Freeman nodded. "Every bit. They're ready." Steve walked back to center stage, the tablet still in his hand. The audience could sense something shifting in the atmosphere. Steve wasn't smiling his usual host smile. This was something deeper. "Sanya," Steve said carefully, "I need to ask you something. Those recordings you mentioned, your mother-in-law's voice, the songs, the stories, you said they were all destroyed in the flood?" Sanya nodded. confused by the question. Yes, everything. 30 years of family history. Why? And your daughter Neha, she's watching right now? Yes, with my neighbor. She wouldn't miss it. Mr. Harvey, what's happening? Steve took a deep breath. Sanya, 3 weeks ago when you did your pre-interview for the show, our producers heard your story. They heard about the lost recordings, about your mother-in-law's voice, about what those tapes meant to your family. And they decided to do something. Sanya's hand went to her throat, fingers finding the pendant on her Mangal Sutra. What do you mean? Our technical team reached out to a company that specializes in disaster recovery for magnetic media. They've been working with experts who restore damaged audio from floods, fires, natural disasters. Sanya, they found someone in Mumbai who had worked on flood-damaged tapes from your neighborhood. The studio was absolutely silent. Sanya's eyes were wide, not daring to hope. 3 days ago, Steve continued, they successfully restored 53 hours of audio from cassette tapes that were recovered from your in-laws' house. 53 hours, Sanya. Your mother-in-law singing, reading stories, family celebrations from the past 30 years. Sanya's legs gave out. Vikram caught her, holding her upright as she sobbed. No, that's not possible. We were told everything was destroyed. The water damage. Not destroyed, Steve said gently. Damaged, but not destroyed. And there's more. More? Sanya could barely speak. Steve looked at his producer, who nodded. Sanya, your visa applications weren't being ignored. They were being processed. And sometimes, when the right people hear the right story, mountains can be moved. From the side entrance of the stage, a figure appeared. A tall man in a simple blue kurta, DSD, traditional Indian attire, walking slowly, carefully, as if in a dream. Behind him, an elderly couple moved carefully, the woman leaning on a walker, the man supporting her other side. Arjun? Sanya's voice was a broken whisper. Arjun? Her husband's face crumpled as he saw her. Sanya. My Sanya. She ran. The woman who had been holding herself together with prayer beads and sheer determination sprinted across the stage in her heavy silk sari, gold jewelry chiming with each step. She crashed into her husband's arms with a force that nearly knocked them both over. How are you here? How are you here? She was touching his face, his shoulders, as if confirming he was real. The visas. You said next month, maybe. Emergency medical visas were approved 5 days ago. Arjun said through his own tears. The show's legal team, they knew people, made calls. We flew out immediately. I wanted to surprise you. But Sanya had seen the elderly couple behind him. Mummy-ji? Papa-ji? Arjun's mother, Kamala, raised one trembling hand to touch Sanya's face. Her mouth worked, struggling. And then, in a whisper that carried across the silent studio, Mary Betty, my daughter. The entire studio erupted. There wasn't a dry eye anywhere. Sanya knelt before her mother-in-law, taking her weathered hands and pressing them to her forehead in a traditional gesture of respect. We're here. Arjun's father, Suresh, said, his voice stronger, despite his frailty. We're finally here to see our granddaughter. Where is our Neha? Steve, wiping his own eyes, turned to the cameras. We've got one more surprise. Neha, sweetheart. We know you're watching with Mrs. Chen next door. We've sent a car to bring you to the studio. You're going to see your papa and your grandparents in just a few minutes. Sanya was sobbing so hard she could barely stand. 7 years of marriage, 10 months of separation, countless video calls that never quite bridged the distance, all of it culminated in this moment. She clung to Arjun while keeping one hand on Kamala's walker, as if afraid they might disappear if she let go. The recordings, Sanya managed to say. You said you recovered the recordings? Steve nodded to his producer, and the studio's sound system came alive with a clear, strong female voice singing in Hindi. Kamala's eyes widened in shock, her hand going to her throat. That's me, she whispered in broken English. That's before. Before the stroke, Mira finished, crying. Oh my God, that's Mummy singing Neha's favorite bhajan. We have 53 hours of this, Steve said. Songs, stories, family gatherings. Your daughter's first birthday party. Your wedding preparations. Your mother-in-law teaching traditional recipes. All of it restored and digitized. It was painstaking work, but our audio team said it was worth every hour when they heard what was on those tapes. Vikram spoke up through his tears. Steve, we thought we'd lost our mother's voice forever. She used to fill our house with music. These last months, the silence. Kamala was crying, listening to her own strong voice from years past, singing devotional songs. Suresh held her as she leaned into him, both of them overwhelmed. There's one more thing, Steve said. He gestured to the production assistant who brought out a tablet. Sanya, we know you've been teaching Neha Hindi using whatever resources you could find. We've had a team create a special learning program using all the restored recordings. Your mother-in-law reading stories, teaching words, singing songs, all organized into lessons Neha can use to connect with her grandmother's voice, even as Kamala continues her speech therapy. It was at that moment that a small voice rang out from the stage entrance. Mama? Mama? Papa? 6-year-old Sanya Patel burst onto the stage, her little legs pumping as fast as they could carry her. She was wearing a bright yellow lehenga, Indian dye, a traditional Indian outfit that Sanya had put her in that morning for luck. Her long black hair streamed behind her as she ran. Arjun dropped to his knees, just in time to catch his daughter, as she launched herself into his arms. Papa! Papa! You're here! You're really here! Muma said you were taking care of Nani and Nana, but you're here. I'm here, Beta. I'm here. Arjun was sobbing into his daughter's hair. I missed you so much. So much. But Neha had spotted her grandparents. She approached more slowly. Suddenly, shy. It had been over a year since she'd seen them in person, and her grandmother looked frailer than in the video calls. Kamala held out one shaking hand. Neha, she whispered. Mary Piari Neha. My sweet Neha. The little girl looked at her mother uncertainly. Sanya nodded encouragement. Go on, Beta. Nani wants to see you. Neha stepped forward and gently took her grandmother's hand. Nani, why can't you sing anymore? The question, so innocent and direct, made everyone's breath catch. Kamala's eyes filled with fresh tears. She touched her throat, then her heart, trying to explain without words. But Steve had one more surprise. Neha, sweetheart, your Nani's voice is getting better with therapy. But while she's working on that, we have something special for you. He nodded to the sound team, and suddenly the studio filled with Kamala's voice again, this time singing a specific lullaby, one that made Neha gasp with recognition. That's my song. That's the song Nani used to sing on the phone. Muma, that's my sleeping song. We found it, Sanya whispered, holding her daughter. Mr. Harvey's team found Nani's voice. We have all her songs now, all her stories. You can listen to them whenever you want. Neha looked at her grandmother with wonder. Your voice is in the computer? Kamala nodded, tears streaming down her face. With enormous effort, she managed to whisper, Sing with me. And in a moment that no one in that studio would ever forget, 3 generations of Patel women, Haravinte, Kamala in her wheelchair, Sanya in her wedding sari, and little Neha in her bright yellow lehenga, began to sing together. Kamala's voice was barely a whisper. Sanya's voice strong but trembling with emotion, and Neha's sweet child's voice carrying the melody her grandmother had taught her across 8,000 miles of distance and through the fog of a stroke's damage. The Anderson family, who had been competing against the Patels, were all crying. Mrs. Anderson stepped forward. Mr. Harvey, we forfeit. This family needs this win more than anyone. No, Sanya said quickly. No, please. We'll play. This is already more than we ever dreamed. Please, let's play the game. Steve looked between the families. Tell you what, we're going to do something we've never done before. Both families are going to play fast money together. Whatever you win, you split. And the Harvey Foundation is going to match it for medical expenses and family reunification costs. The audience erupted in applause. Arjun, still holding Neha, reached for Sanya with his free arm. Is this real? All of this? It's real, Sanya confirmed. You're here. Mummy G and Papa G are here. And her voice? We have her voice back. As they prepared for fast money, with both families working together, Steve asked Kamala if there was anything she wanted to say. The elderly woman struggled, her face contorting with effort. Finally, in a voice that was broken but determined, she managed, "Thank you for saving my songs." 4. Neha. The fast money round became a celebration. The questions took on special meaning. Name something grandparents give their grandchildren. Their voice, Sanya answered without hesitation. Their stories, their heritage, their voice. Name something families do together. Sing, little Neha shouted, making everyone laugh through their tears. Name something worth waiting for. Medical visas, Arjun said, causing rueful laughter from the audience. Name something that brings families together. Love, Kamala whispered, the word clear despite her struggles. Love. They won the maximum prize. And with Steve's foundation match, both families would receive substantial help. But everyone knew the real prize had already been claimed. A family reunited, a grandmother's voice restored, a little girl's heritage preserved. As the taping concluded, Steve made one final announcement. The Patel family story reminds us that families can survive separation, illness, immigration challenges, all of it, if love is strong enough. The recordings we restored will be preserved digitally forever, ensuring that future generations of Patels will know their grandmother's voice. And Kamala, the speech therapy team here in Atlanta, has reviewed your medical records from India. They believe with intensive therapy, you can make significant improvements. The Harvey Foundation will cover the cost. Kamala pressed her palms together in namaste, tears flowing freely. Suresh spoke for his wife. In our culture, we believe voices carry souls. You have given our family back my wife's soul, preserved it for our granddaughter and her children. This debt cannot be repaid. No debt, Steve said firmly. Just promise me something. When Kamala sings again, and she will sing again, you'll send us a recording. Deal? Deal, the entire family said in unison. 6 months later, Steve Harvey received a video in his email. It was shaky, clearly filmed on a phone in someone's living room. Kamala Patel sat in a comfortable chair, no longer needing the walker. Beside her, Neha sat cross-legged on the floor, wearing a bright blue salwar kameez. Sanya and Arjun were visible at the edges of the frame. "Mr. Harvey," Kamala said, her voice still soft but clear, so much clearer than 6 months ago. "The therapy is working. I want to sing for you, with my granddaughter." What followed was a simple Hindi devotional song, a grandmother and granddaughter's voices intertwining. Kamala's voice was not as strong as in the recovered recordings, but it was hers, present and real. Neha sang with confidence, having learned every word from both the restored recordings and her grandmother's daily lessons. At the end of the video, Neha waved at the camera. "Thank you, Mr. Steve. Nani sings to me every night now. Real singing, not just computer singing. And guess what? I'm teaching my friends Hindi using Nani's recordings. Their grandparents live far away too, so they understand." Sanya appeared fully in frame. "Mr. Harvey, the restored recordings didn't just save our family's history. They gave my mother-in-law a goal in her recovery. Hearing her own strong voice reminded her what was possible. The therapists say her progress is remarkable. And Arjun's parents' medical visas have been extended. They're staying with us while continuing treatment." Arjun added, "We've started a support group for families dealing with immigration medical challenges. We share resources, help with paperwork. Your show didn't just reunite our family. It showed us how to help other families going through the same thing. The video ended with the whole family singing together, a song from the restored recordings that Kamala was relearning, her voice growing stronger with each verse. Steve watched the video 3 times, tears flowing freely. He forwarded it to Marcus Freeman with a simple note. This is why we do what we do. The episode aired as part of a special Family Feud series on family reunification. The response was overwhelming. Immigration lawyers offered pro bono services to families in similar situations. Speech therapists reached out with new techniques for stroke recovery. Audio restoration companies reported a surge in requests from families trying to preserve their own heritage recordings. But perhaps the most moving responses came from other grandchildren, separated from their grandparents by distance, illness, or immigration barriers. Hundreds of videos poured in of children singing with their grandparents over video calls, inspired by Neha and Kamala's story. A year after the show, the Patel family returned for a special update segment. Kamala walked onto the stage without assistance, her recovery remarkable. When Steve asked her to sing, she performed a full Bengali lullaby. Her voice perhaps not as powerful as in her youth, but clear and beautiful. Music therapy, she explained in accented but confident English. The recordings showed me my voice was still inside, just needed to find it again. Neha, now 7 and even more confident, demonstrated the Hindi learning app that had been created using the restored recordings. Other kids use it too, she announced proudly. Kids whose grandparents live far away or can't talk anymore. Nani's voice is teaching lots of children. Sanya, wearing another beautiful sari, by Asiya, this one a deep blue with silver embroidery, spoke about how the experience had changed their lives. We learned that families aren't broken by distance or illness. They're just stretched. And sometimes it takes a village or a game show to bring the pieces back together. Any regrets about those 10 months apart? Steve asked Arjun. None, Arjun said firmly. I was where I needed to be, caring for my parents. Sanya held our family together here. We both did what love required. The separation was hard, but it showed us how strong we really are. And the recordings? Steve prompted. We've digitized everything and shared copies with family around the world, Sanya explained. My daughter will grow up hearing her grandmother's young voice singing ancient songs, but also seeing her grandmother fight through a stroke to sing again. Both voices matter. Both tell our story. As the update segment ended, Kamala asked if she could say something. Mr. Harvey, in Hindu philosophy, we believe in the power of sound. Nad Brahma. The universe is sound. When I lost my voice, I thought I had lost my connection to the divine, to my family's future. You gave us back more than recordings. You gave us back our sacred sounds. The Patel family's appearance on Family Feud had started with a woman in a green wedding sari, whispering prayers and holding worry beads, separated from half her heart by 8,000 miles and bureaucratic delays. It had transformed into a reunion that proved love could survive any distance, that voices could be recovered from floodwaters, and that sometimes the universe conspires to bring families together in the most unexpected ways. The 53 hours of restored recordings became a treasure trove, not just for the Patel family, but for researchers studying language preservation and immigrant families maintaining cultural connections. Kamala's voice, young and strong in the recordings, elderly but determined in the present, became a symbol of resilience and the power of preserving family histories. And somewhere in Atlanta, a little girl named Neha fell asleep each night to 2 versions of her grandmother's voice, one from the past, preserved through technology and determination, and one from the present, hard-won through therapy and love. Both voices sang the same songs, carried the same love, and proved that some things are stronger than distance, illness, or time. The restored recordings had given them back their past. The reunion had secured their future. And Kamala's recovering voice was writing their present, one song at a time. Steve Harvey had seen many surprises in his years of hosting, but the image that stayed with him was this: 3 generations of women in brilliant saris, singing together on his stage, their voices blending in an ancient lullaby, past and present, loss and recovery, separation and reunion, all woven together in a song that would echo through generations. The prayers Sanya had whispered at the beginning of the show had been answered in ways she never could have imagined. Her family was whole, her daughter's heritage preserved, and her mother-in-law's voice, both versions of it, would sing through the years to come. The woman who had shocked Steve Harvey with her quiet strength had received the greatest shock of all. Sometimes, miracles come in the form of recovered cassette tapes and expedited visa applications, bringing families together across oceans and through the silence of stroke, proving that love speaks in many voices, all of them worth saving.